I knew what they could and could not do. But then how I wound up my journey after I got out of the military, I went into the exposition end of things, live events, special events. And, I had a degree and I went to Shenandoah University and I wanted to apply that because I was kind of an artsy guy. And when I got into the exposition end of things 20 some odd years ago here in Atlanta, it was just booming. It was a lot of fun, a lot of things happening, anywhere from a Democratic National Convention, Republican National Convention, Explore International, you name it. I pretty much did it. You name the city, I traveled to it. And this was before kids. So my wife and I had a good time. Been to San Francisco numerous times, did all those fun filled things. But then through it all, about 11 years ago, JR, my world got taken from me because we had that financial hiccup. And as you know, they were, how do they say that? Laying people off or something. Man, I got fired. That's the bottom line. I mean,
Well,
I don't care what they call it, but, not that I wasn't doing my job because they said I was. And I said, well, if that's the case, why you let me go? And,
yeah. Well, in my case, I was working in the financial industry. I was selling mortgages,
ooh,
retail in Charlotte,
mm,
North Carolina, of all places. It was the first place to go into the heavy recession and the last place to come out. And when you're used to a 5-figure a month income, and all of a sudden you're calling up your former friendly competitors, and just to say, "Hey, Mark, is the phone still going?" I'm sure you can relate.
yes, and then you brought up a great point, Jr. Because after that, like you're here, and then it gets taken from you, and all of a sudden I'm selling lawn care, knocking on doors, going door to door, and my boss couldn't believe me when I said, "That's what I'm doing." He says, "Oh my God, are you knocking on the door?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Wow." And they were in a sales meeting. I said, "So all you guys that are complaining about making calls or having appointments, just think about what I'm doing to make a dime or a penny out there." And he couldn't believe it. But you know what? That was a lot of fun because I met a lot of cast of characters along the way. So you go from this highfalutin tootin' exposition industry where you're dealing with professional organizations, associations, director of sales, marketing, creative, all that fun stuff. And now here you are talking to somebody on their porch about lawn care. And you talk about having to become creative. Well, like when I'd see golf clubs, my value prop was like, hey, you know what? Those are some great clubs. What's your handicap? Where do you golf at? And they're looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you here? I said, how would you like to golf more? He goes, can you show me how? Yeah, let's sit down and talk about that.
Wow.
So he was working on his yard. He had an immaculate yard. I'll never forget this guy. He said, how much does this cost? I'm in. That's green fee. He went up to his wife. He said, this guy's name's Mark. He's with blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to mention the company. And I laughed. The next thing you know, I signed him up, for like
Nice.
6 applications. And, he said, hey, man, I appreciate it. So these are some of the things that we all go through in life. And I think what's enabled me to develop and flourish is keeping a sense of humor. I didn't have it at first, but I think that's paramount. There's nothing like this pandemic. I'm laughing at it because not that it's not serious, but I hear about how bad this is and that is. And I would kill JR to go back 20 years and have these tools like you and I are using right now, this virtual thing or the Zoom thing, the Microsoft Team thing. And there's so many things you can do now today with a business that when I hear people complain they're out of work or they're this or that, I'm like, my goodness, do you know what you have at your fingertips, even with an iPhone? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Even like our friend Randy Chafee, who's the road warrior. I'm going
Yes,
to have him on, by the way. That's going to be a great program.
right.
But he stopped. It's not that he stopped being a road warrior, but he realized, hey, I can see 5 people on the road a day, but right here I can have my glass of wine in my hand. I can be out in my back patio in my nice house in Florida, and I can just I can talk to 20 people, and
Right.
I can have lunch and the cheese and crackers and I mean, it kills me. I'm like, man, he's my hero. But
Oh, absolutely.
oh my God, look who we have up here. We've got the great hey
Oh my
Joe.
my. Oh my
Oh,
my.
yeah. I haven't approached him yet, but Joe's going to be somebody else on my show. Maybe I'll be banned in 13 states after, but the other, 37, they're going to learn some really good stuff. Anyway, listen, so going through meeting these people,
Yes.
what were some of the biggest challenges that you were hitting as far as, I mean, was it obviously it was motivation because there's so many yeses to no's to a yes, and there's so many this is to that, and you got to call 20 people to get 6 to get 1 to talk. What was your worst part?
I think the worst part for me was not taking it so personal. And I read this book back in the day, Go for No, and I started thinking about it. So my approach became a game. Even to this day, it's a game. I love hearing no. I know that sounds sick, but I'm like, look, dude, I got 5 no's. That
Uh-oh.
means I'm that much closer to yes. Okay, if you want to reduce the viewers, I can. Hell yeah, Joe. We know you can. You're gonna like desecrate poor Jr. here.
No. But, okay, here's the thing: is it's like the old Jeffrey Gitomer adage. If they're offended by me, they need to not listen,
Right,
because I'm
right,
going to say what I'm going to say because
right,
it's me. And
right.
there's some people that are made loud to be played loud, like JR and Mark
Yeah.
and Joe Ingram. And
Oh my.
I mean, if some people want to listen to Brahms, oh my
Right.
God, look who we have here.
I mean the knuckle dragger, my man from Knuckle Dragger U, Randy Chafee. That's he and I are kindred spirits. Uh,
Understood. I love me some Randy. He's a great guy.
yeah,
We were just
absolutely.
talking about you, Randy, but it was good stuff.
Yep.
Anyway, we before I rudely interrupted us,
Oh, that's okay.
I'm taking the hit.
I'm
Um,
flexible.
hey Tom, um, I wanted to ask what was the difficult blows you took out there? What were that body blows you took?
Well, let's see. I could talk about a time where you lose. I'll just go back to the trade show thing where you lose like a $500,000 show. That's not exciting, and you find out you're not going to do it again, and
Exactly.
oh, those are killer. Or when we had that infamous. I'm trying to think. Help me out here, GR. I'm having a aneurysm in my old
Uh-oh.
age in New York. When the towers got struck.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
9/11.
9/11. I'm sorry. When
No,
that
yeah.
hit, when
19
that
years
hit,
ago.
that
That was
that that desecrated a lot of government work I did. I had a show I was going to do with the Air Force, and
wow.
I called them up, and they said, "Yeah, Mark, we won't be doing the show for the next probably 3 years. So we'll keep you in mind." And when things like that happen, and you don't realize, things beyond your control. Obviously, 9/11 was.
Oh yeah.
COVID, I'm sure, is too. I have friends now that are getting out of the exposition business. I'm not making fun of it. They're the greatest people that you can meet because of what they do and what they promote, all the industries involved. But expositions right now are kind of, like on a flat line, other
Yeah.
than if you do it this way, virtually, which isn't the same thing.
This is going to be one of my solo shows, and it's like I got no control over what's goes on outside of me, and I was letting it control me. And my grandpa told me a long time ago, you control two things. You control the friends you have and the books you read. When I was a young lad, and that was stellar.
Hmm.
And without taking away from this show, the thing that Mark and I do is Mark and I work on pumping ourselves up, because if you're going to go to a covered dish dinner, You got to have something in your dish to pass. You don't show up with empty Tupperware, you know?
Right.
And that's the whole key with this whole thing. And sales is tough. I
Right.
mean, you're constantly getting rejected. I mean, it's just, that's why they call it work.
Yes.
Anyway, I'll get off my soap. And
No,
now
no.
back to the Mark Show.
Okay, no, I enjoyed that. You said something very profound, something that my son, this past weekend, he had to get married in the Orthodox Church, which, by the way, if some of you saw it, it was very beautiful. There's probably like all told 22 of us and three priests. But the neat thing, the one of the priests said to both my son and his wife was simply this: if you got married to make each other happy, guess again. And if you think this is going to be easy, guess again. And I think
Nice.
that was so profound what he said. He wasn't being negative. And
He was being real.
if you think sales is easy, guess again. Everybody will say, well, it's just a sales guy, or it's just this, or it's just that. If it's easy, then show me how you secure opportunities and that are profitable. Why do people train like in the military? Why do people work out? Why do name any sporting, you know, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, they all practice, practice, practice. You can never do it enough. And I know people that are workout freaks, and that's cool. But if you want to become good at something and master it, and I feel like I'm only scratching the surface because there are people that have been doing this longer than me. I mean, I could go from Jeffrey Gitomer to Benjamin Franklin Gay III to, even Ken Walls. I mean, you could just Grant Cordons. I mean, these guys are like masters in their own right. So you have to figure out what's going to work for you and then be consistent with it. And, that's just always kind of been my approach. What you see here is how I am on the phone with people, and what you see here is how I am off air. And, I guess authenticity. I mean, people say be authentic. My kids always tease me about, well, people know where you stand, dads. When you say something, they know where you're coming from. So I guess it's a good thing. It's a blessing, and it sometimes can be a curse. I try not to be too outspoken, but if I don't like something, I'm going to voice my opinion. I'm not going to yell and scream, but I don't have to go along with the flow. And
So
that's
so you were in these other things before,
sure.
and I know you have an evolving,
Oh, yeah.
certainly out of the gate, certainly well mature. We're going to talk about something that you're going to be doing tomorrow at 11,
Hmm.
toward the end of the show. That's going to be very exciting. So hang in there. It's going to. Wait a minute. Let me give him a little teaser. That's what he's going to be doing tomorrow. And by the way, another teaser. That's where you contact. But what I want to ask you is, what's the approach? Why not do other things? Why do you do what you do?
Well, what I'm doing right now with sales training, I enjoy it because it's an extension of coaching and helping people. Was really funny. You just mentioned that. I call it the blocking and tackling of sales. And there are a lot of people out there that they think they know what they're doing and how to approach things. And it's kind of amazing when you find out, when you talk about value propositions, or how you handle objections, how some people really handle that. And it's what you want to state, you need to ask, and people don't ask enough questions, and they don't
Oh
ask
wow,
enough
that's an understatement.
open-ended questions, and they don't keep their mouth closed. I know I'm ranting here, but in a sales scenario, I'm pretty quiet. I ask a question and listen, and you can find out a lot of things, you know personally, professionally, and I just listen. And people tell you about COVID. You'll ask them, hey, JR, how are things going right now for you since we're evidently out of COVID? Well, now a lot of people are scared. Hey, are they going to shut my business down, or are we going to go backwards? when someone else raises his right hand and becomes the president. I mean, I'm just pointing things out, and I'm not. It's not any political affiliation, but
It's going to change.
these are real concerns that some business owners have, mid-size and small, and we deal with them as well. And there is a concern out there right now.
There's a big concern, but the thing is, we don't have any control over what's
No,
out without, like I was saying, but we do with what is within. And
right.
attitude is altitude, and that's why I'm doing things like this, and you're doing things like this. And one of the questions I ask my prospective clientele and my existing clientele is not only how's it going, and how's this COVID thing working out for you, which is probably, I'll phrase it a lot better than that,
Hmm.
because, but it's like, how's this COVID working out for your business? And if you really want to play, if you want to put a ball over the plate at over 100 miles an hour. So Mark, I don't want to pry, but how's this thing going for you and your family and your extended family and friends? What's going on with everybody? And that's when you're really,
Hmm.
that's that and $2 is probably worth a bus ride somewhere in Atlanta,
Yes. Oh, yes. You can't be like Mark, the sales guy. You got to be a little compassionate when you're talking to people because, I kid with people all the time. I like having fun. And, when I get told sometimes, hey, I'm not interested. And I started laughing. I said, well, what aren't you interested in? I haven't even spoke yet. Well, this is a sales call. I'm like, really? Well, how do you know that? I've just, because
uh,
I know these things, and I just have fun with people, So they'll say, okay, go ahead. Or people will pick up the phone. They're in the middle of a sales meeting. JR, I can't talk to you. I'm in the middle of a sales meeting. It's all within me to say, my counterpart says, you ought to do that sometimes. Say, well, why'd you pick up the phone if you're in a sales meeting? If it's that important, why'd you pick up my call? So I start laughing. I said, well, you obviously know that I am a person of importance. That's why you picked it up. And he laughed.
I love
He
it.
said, okay, what do you got? Okay, call me back 2 days from now or something, So you just keep things light and don't take yourself so serious. There are people right now that are, and
Oh my
that's their
God.
prerogative. That's their prerogative. They have a position. They have a title. I'm a CEO. I'm a CFO. I'm a whatever, and I VP of sales, and I deal with those, and I get it, and I respect that. But we're all human beings, so let's treat one another accordingly. And it's not that big a deal. I might have a solution to your particular situation. If you want to hear about it. If not, that's great. I'll
I
go on to
love
the
it.
next person.
It's like today, TMI. I had my annual physical. Everything was fine. When they shined the light through here, there was something that came out
Well,
here. So,
good.
the usual. But this morning when I woke up, we made some cookies for the firemen and policemen. So I'm half awake,
Cool.
get my black coffee, and there's these sugar cookies, man, those 5-star things with the sprinkles. And I'm like, oh, that looks good. So I bit one of the stars pieces off. And then it dawned on me, I'm supposed to be in a fast. And this is the whole point of what's tying in with. And I'm sitting there having my blood taken, afterwards this morning. And I had all those ladies that are back there coming and joking with me because I was telling them, man, I messed up big time. And I said, I haven't been practicing Catholic for 30 years. I got to
Right.
go to confession this Saturday because I didn't finish a cookie. I threw the rest away because
Oh
I
my
think I
goodness.
did something wrong. Got to
Oh
go
my
talk to the
goodness.
priest. And, it was so absurd, but they loved it.
Right.
And
Right.
and that's the whole point with it, like what you were saying, engaging people,
Right.
and so you're doing your thing out there. And tell me about this event that you've got coming up tomorrow, because
Oh.
you you're presenting a gala.
Well, Well, I'm not actually the guy that's the presenter on
Okay.
this one, but it is the six components of closing a sale. And I'm not going to divulge all this. If you want to get involved, JR shared it with you. But what we do for 60 minutes, just so you understand, it is 60 minutes of engagement. There is a moderator. You have people from different industries, different titles, positions. Everybody's got to keep their ego in check. And we have a lot of fun during the process. And it gives a person an opportunity to take a look at what we offer. And our biggest claim to fame against the big boys is customization. We take intel from you, like if it was your company, JR, and you tell us what you go through in and day out, and we'll put together a program totally customized for your industry and your salespeople or your team, or if it's the management end of things, or customer service. And that's how we roll. And in the process, we have a good time with it. We've done things like this past week, we had like, I think it was 185 people at OSG.
Nice.
And this, the third day, my customer said to me, or my client, Mark, they'd like you to talk because you've kind of been quiet the whole time. So I said, sure. I said, I'm a product of this environment, that what we teach, I'm actually a product of the environment, the 8 touch system. And all that simply is calling it somebody at least 8 times, if not more, on a weekly basis. You'd be surprised how many people, and I'm talking about people that make 6 figures, after 3 or 4 attempts, they want to quit.
Yep.
Or writing a value prop email or something of that nature. I mean, you're sitting there going, now surely this person can do this, but it's anything that's of a challenge. And it all goes back to what my dad taught me as a young lad. Stop telling me what you can't do. Show me what you can do. And you've got to have a belief in you, first of all, a belief in your company and the products or services that you provide. And when that comes across, I don't know if it is right now, but I'm here to tell you, I'll stack anything we got against the big boys out there, the Dale Carnegies. If you want to list them all, and we don't give you a template. That's not how we roll. We give you something customized, and when they see it, they go, "Wow!" And they like it because it's something they can plug in, and we give them other tools they can use, and we stay with them through the process. We don't just sell it, present it, and walk away from it. There's the
Well,
difference.
so how do you formulate this? How does your discovery process work?
Well, what we do is we sit down with, when we did this with OSG, like the director of sales, and we said, tell us where you're, I hate using the word pain or, and all that, but tell us where you're having challenges. They just like this. He said, we have people that are wearing t-shirts doing virtual presentations over product. And, he said, we got to be more professional about this. And
Wow.
our backdrop, or, just little things. You'd be amazed at some of the things he shared with us. And, it was, you know, it kind of enlightened me, like, not everybody knows how to do this. Now, you and I are a member, and some of these other people out here, of an organization, and I'm going to give a kudos out to it, but it's the Grow Live Academy. And having been affiliated with that organization, great group of people, Ken
Wonderful.
Walls, in his infamous wisdom, put together this platform. There are a lot of people that need this. And if they would jump on board, they'd be amazed at what it would do for them personally, professionally, and even their entire organization. Ken, if I can get some corporate people out there to hop on board, I'll gladly do it.
Definitely. It's that is a really, really, really big part of what we do.
I
Really
mean,
big part of it.
who would ever thought you and I'd be doing this? I mean, we kind of knew one another, but look at all the people you meet through this.
It the thing that is absolutely lovely about this, and hopefully we don't get off on one of JR's long rabbit trails.
That's all right.
But I am so thankful that I've surrounded myself with winners and get rid of the whiners. Because right now, you would find it hard to believe that I was one of the most cynical people walking the planet. Not long ago,
Right.
I
Right.
went through a situation last year that, was supposed to I was engaged to somebody. I had sold my house, and then she came down with cancer, and then that ended. And there's some people, in those old black and white movies with the little old Italian widow that has the tooling over her face, and she's got the black outfit. I got the black outfit on, so I'm halfway there. But um,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and I just said enough is enough. I got to do a lot of living or a lot of dying because this thing in the middle ain't cutting it. You
Right.
know, and it's so cool because this group, I love you too, Lynn. You're
Thank
another
you, Lynn.
wonderful friend.
There,
But
yeah, there's another techno geek. She's very intelligent when it comes to the technology as well. I could be plugging into all you folks because I just get up here and rant and make a fool of myself when I get online on air. I'm kidding, but that's what I'm saying. The quality people and what they know and the willingness to help.
it's
You
just great.
can't put a price tag on it.
I've got a new set of friends that when I go down to Florida, I'm going to go have a glass of wine or two with Randy Chafee.
Yeah.
And Ronnie
Yeah.
Goodwin. I was talking to him earlier tonight, and he's like, "When are you going to come up so I can invite you to dinner?" And I'm thinking today is not a good day for that because I was on the official scale. I was in the
Ooh.
weigh-in, and it. I obviously am not the champ, but I kind of felt like Cassius Clay getting on the weigh-in. And
Gotcha.
I'm thinking, in fact, one time Ric Flair, I was at his, he was a
There's
wrestler
my
here.
man. That's the
Woo!
guy. Yes. Woo! That is the guy, when he used to get on there and promote. And that is the one thing I think this has taught me to do is don't be afraid to promote yourself, promote
Exactly.
others and endorse them. I used to be a little inhibited about promoting, but do you do a presentation or is it a performance? And I like to think of it as a performance and make it fun.
It is.
Life's too short. I'm not going to sit here and go, today we're going to talk about, no, I can't do that.
I was in Ric Flair when he was in Charlotte. He lived here and for a long time, and he
Yes.
had some Gold's Gyms franchises, and was at the South Park one. And the champ was not getting on and off the scale. He got on, he got off, he got on, he got off. And I walked up to him and I said, "Mr. Flair," never called him Mr. Flair before. I said, "Mr. Flair, I went to a great engineering school called Rochester Institute of Technology. And I can tell you from an engineering standpoint, it's not going to go down the more you step on it." And, again, it's using humor
Right.
to put that hook. And that if you can't laugh at life, I mean, it's so important right now to be a ray of sunshine
Yeah.
in an overcast day out there because everybody, I don't care if you voted Democrat or Republican or whatever, everything is uncertain. I mean, am I going to die from COVID? Is all my money going to go away? Blah, blah, blah. Just you can sit there for hours. And
Right.
fortunately, I'm not going to get any gray hair over that stuff. But I know, cheap trick. But
No, that's cool. That's cool.
but the thing that fascinated me about you was you got in it. And the thing that I learned from Mark's message to me is, I mean, when we do anything in the beginning, we suck.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
did.
saying you
I
suck,
looked.
but
No, I sucked. I'll admit it. I was like, oh my god, that was
yeah,
horrible.
this
Yeah.
is an early broadcast for
Yeah.
me, and I thought I hit start the broadcast. So that great intro, we were about 3 minutes in, and I'm looking at the thing that says start broadcast.
I know. I
Yeah,
know.
about 90 seconds ago.
I know.
Whatever,
Right.
it's it, and the it's so much. This is so much fun just being with people that I admire, because Mark is an example to me of somebody that kept going up to the bat, and the ball might have gone by a couple of times when he was still looking at the batter, like me. I do that. We all do
Right.
that.
Right.
And
Right.
I didn't mean to say that in a pejorative way.
No.
But
No.
the thing is, he got his dead rear off the bench and he went up there and he held the bat. And showing up is 90% of the game. And then you learn the
Right.
rest, right?
Right. Right.
I'm
No,
just
and
saying.
you know what, JR, that is so true. If more people would just step up and
Right on,
do
Tom.
do yeah, do what you need to do. I never saw suck. I saw courage. And yeah, well, thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. And I can say suck, but I just whatever. But
No, and it wasn't sucking. It was just,
I
courage.
digress. And I got to go back to Ken Walls. I mean, I remember he and I had the phone conversation, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. Do I really want to do this? And I said, well, I got to move some money around. And then I said, you know what? Next week I'm going to call you, and I just bit the bullet and went, boom, I'm in. I'm in, and
Me
you
too.
know, he said, Mark, you won't regret it, and it's like anything else. What you put into this is what you get out of it, and
And it's addictive.
no,
I love
it
it.
is. It is. And the coaching sessions by themselves, I went on last Friday, but when you have guys like a Glenn Morshower, Mr. Sage, and I could name countless other people he's had on there, even Gittimer, I know Gittimer rants, but I love Jeffrey. Jeffrey's a Northeastern type, bang them, go get them type guy. But no, I'm not making fun of that. That's his style. And then you got Ken and the way he deals with things. And there's just so many cool people he's brought on in these training sessions. Uh, that you would have to pay top dollar for coaching. And that's part of the program. And I sat down and thought about it this weekend. I'm like, man, do you realize, like, if you would take a Glenn Morshower, he's up there with any type of coach that you could possibly conceive of, man. The
He's one of the
guy's
top coaches in acting in North
right,
America.
right. I mean, he is
And
the
he's our
man,
friend.
right? And he just comes on and says, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And he's just so laid back and cool. And when he acts, I'm sure he's very dead serious and does it well. But when he's off camera, he's off camera. But what you see with him is what you get. And as they say, I know BS when I see it, and he's the real deal. Some
Yeah,
people I've met them on camera, they're this way, off camera, they're another way. But that's not true with Glenn. I mean, he is what he is, and I embrace that and I welcome it. It's a breath of fresh air. And you want to talk authenticity, that's it in a nutshell. That guy right there.
right. And I promised that we were going to tell sales secrets.
Okay,
And we
all
have
right.
told sales secrets. We talked about humor. We talked about determination. Um, I'll probably have to do something for you because I implied you sucked, and I didn't. It didn't. It came out the wrong way. But I mean, you're learning. You can hear the squeak of the training wheels. You know, I mean, I'm talking about that with myself. I didn't get the thing started on the broadcast in the beginning because this is only
Right.
3 or 4 in. But the thing is, just by the fact that we're
Oh yeah, yeah.
back,
We're in the batter's box of life, as I say. Everybody teases me about that. What's that all about? And Mark Rodriguez said, Mark, when you do those lives when you're umpiring, there is like a glow over you, dude. I can tell you love doing that. And yeah, I do. Now it's not fun being out there, but that is my sanctuary. A baseball diamond is geometrically designed, and there might be a lot of chaos to some, but to me, I'm in control of it and I just enjoy it. And I figure if I can do that, I sure as heck can do sales. uh, because you get to hear all sorts of non-Christian things about you, your name, and other things when you call a ball or strike or out or safe. And I always just kind of laugh on the inside when I hear it.
well, it's the same kind of thing because there's a lot of stuff and there's a lot of distractions and I'm easily distracted. I don't know if it's ADD or I don't know if it's I spend
Right.
too much time analyzing things or whatever. But the thing about it is you got to focus down to what you're good at. It's like we were talking off camera about the catcher and pitcher having signals
Yes.
and 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 they know what's going on, and that whole area right between the catcher's knees is what's about to happen to the guy in front
Absolutely.
of him,
Absolutely.
and he's looking at the pitcher, but it's just there are components that are there, and as the ump, you're looking at the whole thing, and you're making sure, and you understand what everybody does, and that's the great thing about sales. If I can say, at our age, we're seasoned, where
I like that
we
word,
know the
seasoned.
signals.
Seasoned. I like the word seasoned. Yeah.
Well, we know what signal it should be doing. We know we've already read the pitcher and the catcher and the guy at bat, and we know don't give this guy a curveball because he's got a good reach, and
Right.
it might be outside the box, but he's going to put it in your head, you know. And that's what I like about watching you. It's because there's been a progress and there's a consistency,
Yes.
and both of us really enjoy what we're doing. We
Yeah.
thank everybody that showed up, and
Oh, yeah.
some have liked it. Thank you. And you know, the comments have been lovely. Subscribe. You all know what to do. But and if you're here new, welcome, because there's a lot of us that are in a little fraternity, if you will, and we are learning from watching each other because we have so much individually. I learn from all of the people that are in our extended group
Right.
because everybody has so much to bring to the party.
Oh,
And
yes.
and
I
that's how I learn. Is I don't learn off YouTube videos because those idiots might be doing the right thing and they might not. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't.
Right.
Um, but somebody like Mark that's involved with something that's been selling forever. I mean, once again, I'll go back to this. We're going to leave here pretty soon, Mark.
That's
But
fine.
please, you know the routine. Stick around. This is how you get a hold of Mark, by the way. And then again, this is the show that's 6 components of closing a sale, and it's going to be a very valuable. There's going to be a modest cost involved. What a shock! He does it to pay his bills, but more importantly,
Should we
the
tell them how
value.
much it is? Should we tell them how much it is?
It's up to you, bro.
Oh, that's fine. It's $139. And when you go on that website, you can look at workshops, training programs, coaching, anything that you would want customized to your liking. And you can even call me if you want. I know that the phone number's not down there, but I always do that when I do like a sales concepts training thing. I put my phone number, but that's fine. They can get me
Okay.
through email, and
Okay.
that's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that.
That's cool. And anyway, we'll catch you in just a minute here. I'm gonna do my thing and stay off camera, and I'll be right with you. So that was Mark. We've got some exciting people coming up in the next couple weeks, and just stay tuned. You'll see the posts. It's exciting doing this. Why is it exciting? Because I feel I'm providing something of value. Please tell me in the comments or PM me or whatever things you'd like to happen, uh, people you'd like interviewed, topics. I'm sort of a camera and car guy, and I'm in sales, but I like opening my vistas. Anyway, thank you. And please do comment, like, and subscribe. We'll see you soon.